Okay, page 2 and 5.4.2 introduces you to controlling the world's oil, and it introduces you to something very important called OPEC, which is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. All these countries are industrialized, meaning they have manufacturers and working economies that help us make the world go round, but they're reliant on one thing, and that is petroleum, which is also known as oil. So we're going to read number 2 or page 2 thoroughly because page 2 will help you answer numbers 3 through 13. So control of the world's oil. About two-thirds of the world's known oil reserves are located in the Middle East. At the same time, the countries of this region have an extremely low level of energy consumption, mainly because there is very little industrial development there. Undeveloped countries, but they're rich in oil. The huge difference between the Middle East supply of oil and its consumption of oil enables these non-industrialized countries to export to the industrialized nations where oil is in high demand. So they don't even have an economy that's actually as developed as the United States or other European economies, even Asian economies. They're just making sure that they can stay afloat by selling what every nation in the world needs, which is oil. Next paragraph. The revenues, which is the money made, we talked about that in economics, from these oil exports, meaning things that are shipped out the country, have enabled many Middle Eastern countries to develop wealthy economies without industrial development. It has also given the oil-rich countries of the Middle East a lot of power over the world economy. In essence, these countries control the world's oil supply. Okay, that's self-explanatory, but listen to this. In 1960, oil-rich nations inside and outside the Middle East formed an organization to help them exploit their advantage as major suppliers of the world's oil. Today, over three-quarters of the world's oil supply is controlled by members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC. This is a very important presentation because numbers 3 through 13 is based on the information provided by something that you haven't talked about called OPEC. What does OPEC mean again? Or what does it stand for? The acronym stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. First slide. Very interesting. It has countries Algeria, Angola, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, Nigeria, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Venezuela. The power of OPEC is derived from its members' control of vast oil reserves and industrialized world's dependence upon oil production. This allows OPEC to function as a cartel. What's that? A cartel is a group of producers that can raise or lower the production of a particular commodity so that prices go up or down accordingly. Supply and demand. Whoever is demanding the oil, OPEC is going to set a price. In short, a cartel can control prices because it controls supply. What cartels strive to do is reduce production so that prices go up and profits increase revenue. OPEC has been effective at doing just that throughout much of its history. When OPEC members have not been able to agree to keep production low, oil prices have dropped. So the members within those Middle Eastern countries sometimes disagree and oil prices have to stabilize. And when OPEC is successful at keeping production down, oil prices have gone up or inflate. OPEC means Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. In other words, countries that actually have control of the oil because their country itself has the natural resource. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, the importance of Saudi Arabia. In any cartel, The wealthier members have more power because they can influence the level of production more than other members. All members of OPEC are important, but Saudi Arabia, the world's largest oil producer, has always been the most important. Saudi Arabia has the most oil, so they have the most control, and these are the other leading nations in oil. The Middle Eastern members of OPEC make up the vast majority of the cartel's production power. Oil embargoes. Agreements, in other words. The members of OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, are aware of their power over industrialized world, the economies that rely on them, such as United States, Europe, Asia, so forth and so on. And they have occasionally used this power for political purposes. In 1973, the Middle Eastern members of Oil Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries stopped selling oil to nations that had supported Israel in the Yom Kippur War. The resulting oil price increases and their severe economic effects demonstrated how vulnerable these industrialized countries were to pressure from the oil-rich nations of the world. Okay, so you got that, right? Very important is this page right here. So let's go to numbers 3 through 13. Okay, we did number 1 and 2. So number 3 is asking, well, we're filling in the blank. It says about 2/3 of the world's known oil reserves are located in the Middle East. Got that from the reading, right? How have Middle Eastern countries developed into strong economies without becoming industrialized? The revenues or profits, the money made from oil exports, that means that natural resource of oil, petroleum as it's known, going out of those Middle Eastern countries, have enabled many Middle Eastern countries to develop wealthy economies, but very undeveloped as an economy themselves. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, number 5, stands for OPEC, the acronym, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Number 6, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries formed in 1960. Remember, OPEC is made up mostly of what type of countries, what geographic, demographic that we're talking about? The Middle Eastern countries. If we need to review those, go right back to Apex real quick and take a look at your pie graphs. These are the leading Middle Eastern countries that OPEC is made up of, the members. And remember, the largest, most important one is which one? Saudi Arabia. Okay, back to our reading. Go back to our study guide. Numbers 3 through 13. Next one, number 7. Looking at that pie graph again, what percentage of the world's oil is controlled by OPEC? 3/4 or 75%. Again, that was we looked at the pie graph and we could figure that out. What is a cartel? I almost stopped during the reading because it was said over when we were talking about it. Let's see if we can just split it real quick. Push this one over and have our study guide open. Okay. Our cartel, let's go back just in case you forgot. It speaks of a cartel right here. It says a cartel is a group of producers that can raise or lower the production of a particular commodity. What's that commodity? The commodity this time is something of value that helps the countries make money, make revenue. And again, on this side, you see it right here, number 8. Our cartel is a group of producers that can raise or lower, I should say or lower the production of a particular commodity so that prices go up or down accordingly. Cartels can control prices because it controls supply. Okay, we have until number 13. Let's go down. We're on number 9 now. The goal of a cartel. If we read these slides, we're good. Okay, but it says a cartel strives for, over here we're going to say the goal of the cartel is to strive to reduce oil production so prices increase and profits increase. Okay, What happens when the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries cannot keep production low? The oil prices drop when OPEC, or the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, cannot keep oil production low. Okay, that's on this slide. All right. Number 11. Who is the most powerful member of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and why? We knew that was here. Saudi Arabia is the world's largest oil producer and most powerful. Number 12. Let's go to number 12. Why did the Middle Eastern nations of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries start an embargo in 1973? For political purposes. And then we go on to say Middle Eastern countries stopped selling oil to countries that supported Israel. Okay, and we did see that here. Let's see if it's on the next slide. Here it is. In 1973, the Middle Eastern members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries stopped selling oil to its nations that had supported Israel in the Yom Kippur War. And what were effects of the Yom Kippur? What were the effects of the 1973 embargo? War. That was the meanest effect. Okay, so we'll stop there for number 13.